In the movie Blast from the Past, a man named Adam grew up in a bunker with his parents, Calvin and Helen. They thought a nuclear war was happening, so they stayed inside for 35 years. When the door finally opened, Adam saw the outside world for the first time. Keep watching to know how he learned about life above ground. The movie took place in 1962, during a tense time between the United States and the Soviet Union. Many Americans feared that a nuclear bomb might drop soon. Dr. Calvin Weber, a quirky scientist, built a special fallout bunker in his backyard to stay safe. One day Calvin hosted a party for his friends. While they were having fun, President Kennedy announced on live TV that they planned a secret mission against the Soviets. This scared Calvin, and he quickly sent everyone home and took his pregnant wife, Helen, to their bunker. At that moment, a plane flew over the city but had a problem and crashed into Calvin's house, destroying it. Inside the bunker, Calvin thought the nuclear war had started and sealed the door, telling Helen it would stay closed for 35 years until it was safe again. Neighbors and authorities believed the Webers had died in the crash. As days went by, Calvin and Helen adjusted to life in the bunker. Calvin felt comfortable, but Helen worried about her family and friends. When Helen's water broke, she gave birth to a son named Adam. They were very happy to have a child. The bunker had enough supplies for 35 years, including food, a fish tank, and a nice lounge area. Calvin taught Adam at home about America's history, hoping he could help rebuild the country one day. The story jumped to summer 1965, when construction workers cleared the land and built a diner where the house had been. 10 years later, in autumn 1975, Adam grew into a kind boy who loved spending time with his parents. The diner changed into a pizzeria and then a nightclub. In their basement, Calvin continued teaching Adam about many things, like the stock market and languages. One day, he gave Adam a collection of baseball cards and talked to him about sports. Finally, the story moved to summer 1995, when Calvin and Helen celebrated Adam's 33rd birthday. Adam was now a grown man and wanted to find a partner for himself. In 1997, the bunker finally reached its 35th year. The door unlocked by itself, and the family was excited to see what was outside. Calvin wanted them to wait until night and check first, since they did not know what the world was like now. Above the bunker, the diner had become a place for beggars. While the beggars drank, the ground suddenly shook, and they thought it was an earthquake. However, it was Calvin, who came up to the surface wearing a radiation suit. When the beggars saw him, one of them fainted. Calvin explored his old neighborhood and discovered that it had completely changed. He saw people playfully pointing guns at him and accidentally walked into an adult video store. Realizing that his neighborhood had become unsafe, he grew worried and went back to the bunker. At the dinner table, he told his family that the air above was safe to breathe. But the world had turned into a dangerous place filled with irradiated mutants. Because of this, they needed to stay underground. Helen, tired of living in the bunker, argued with him. She said that no matter what the people above were like, she wanted to go outside and let Adam see the blue sky, touch the ocean. But during the argument, he had a heart attack. With their supplies running low and Calvin becoming sick, Helen wanted Adam to go outside and get what they needed for about 2 years. She gave him a list of groceries and hoped he could also find a girl who was not a mutant. Before Adam left, Calvin warned him not to go into the adult video store, saying it had dangerous levels of radiation. He was really just trying to protect his son from bad things. After some time, Adam packed his bag and stepped out of the bunker for the first time. On the surface, he met Melker, the beggar who had encountered his father the night before. While Adam looked at the outside world with wonder, Melker started to worship Calvin and the elevator that Adam used to come out. Melker believed they had special powers that changed his life. Adam finally saw the blue sky above him and waved at people in the streets, excited because it was his first time seeing them. He was amazed to see a woman of color and greeted her with joy. Later, Adam got on a bus, but he felt scared as the vehicle started moving. He spoke using the knowledge he had learned, but it did not match the way people spoke in this new world. The other passengers thought he was strange, and the bus driver gave him a weird look. After a while, Adam arrived at a grocery store and walked around to find the items his mom needed. When he went to buy meat, the butcher told him that if he ordered more, it could be delivered to his house. Hearing the word house, Adam remembered that he had forgotten how to get back to his bunker. Worried, He looked around the city for a sign of his bunker but could not find it. By this time, his cash was almost gone, so he tried to sell his father's classic baseball cards at a hobby shop. The shop owner thought Adam was crazy for wanting to sell the cards for such a low price and offered to buy the whole pack for just $500. Just then, the shop's assistant Eve came over and stopped the owner from cheating. She told Adam that each of his cards was worth at least $6,000 because they were very rare. She then scolded her boss and quit her job right there. Seeing all this, Adam immediately felt attracted to her. After leaving the store, he asked Eve to drive him to the Holiday Inn restaurant, following his mother's instructions. At first, Eve said no, but when Adam promised to give her 2 cards in return, she agreed. Soon they reached the hotel, but before Adam could say anything, Eve went back home. The next morning, Adam received a call from Eve, who asked him to come down to the lounge. She had come to return his card because she felt guilty. After giving back the card, she tried to leave, but Adam asked her to help him buy supplies in exchange for $1,000 a week as payment. Eve agreed, and they bought a lot of supplies since Adam needed enough for at least 2 years. Later, he also asked Eve to help him find a wife who was not a mutant. In the next scene, Adam met Eve's gay housemate and best friend Troy, who was naturally curious. Troy asked Adam about his hometown, and Adam lied, saying he was originally from Alaska and was in town for a business trip. Later, Eve and Troy gave Adam a fashion makeover, and the two took him skateboarding. Next, Adam saw the ocean for the first time. He excitedly dove into the water and had a great time. He also went to a baseball game and shouted with joy, saying he finally understood what his father had talked about. One day it started to rain, and Adam felt the raindrops for the first time in his life. Eve urged him to come back inside, but Adam wanted to keep enjoying the wonderful feeling. Suddenly, he hugged Eve tightly, showing how much he loved being in the real world. Later that evening, Eve and Troy took Adam to a 1940s swing-style nightclub to help him find a wife. They told him to be himself when talking to women. Surprisingly, Adam caught the attention of several women, including Eve's rival, Sophie. When he and Sophie started to get along, Eve felt uncomfortable and pulled Adam away to a table. She then suggested he look for a sweet girl instead of Sophie. After a while, Adam approached another girl, and they hit it off when he asked her to dance. Soon, Adam impressed everyone with his great dancing skills because he had practiced for many years in the bunker. While this happened, a jealous Eve reconnected with her ex-boyfriend, who started an argument with Adam. He soon regretted it when Adam showed off his boxing skills, which he had practiced every day with his father in the bunker. Because of the argument, Eve became annoyed and decided to leave Adam and go back home. Later, Troy arrived and told Eve that Adam left the club with Sophie. Hearing this, Eve got angry and rushed out to her car to find Adam. Just as she was about to drive away, Adam knocked on the door, surprising her. After that, they went back inside, and Adam explained that he had politely turned down Sophie because he could only think about Eve. He then told her he loved her, and they finally shared a kiss. With Eve beside him, Adam decided to tell her about his past. He shared that he had lived in a fallout bunker with his family for 35 years and was seeing the outside world for the first time. He also said he wanted Eve to be his wife and take her to the bunker so they could live happily together. However, Eve thought he was crazy and asked him to leave. The next day, while learning to drive a truck with Troy, Adam saw the adult video store again and finally figured out where his bunker was. He hurried back to Eve's house to tell her what he found, but noticed 2 psychiatrists waiting for him there. Adam cooperated at first, but then he escaped after giving Eve and Troy the key to his hotel room. He asked them to take all his baseball cards and pay his hotel bill before driving away in a truck. Later, Troy and Eve reached Adam's hotel room and found clothes, toothpaste, and other items from the 1960s. They also discovered valuable stock certificates from Adam's father, which were now worth millions. They realized that Adam was not crazy and had been telling the truth all along. Meanwhile, Adam returned home after 2 weeks of being outside. He hugged his parents and told them how wonderful the world had become. Soon, Melker and his friends helped Adam load supplies into the bunker. On the other hand, Eve and Troy tried to find Adam's underground bunker, but could not locate it. That night, while returning home, Eve saw Adam outside the adult video store. She immediately called his name and got out of the car. They hugged and kissed, and Adam took her to meet his parents. Calvin and Helen were impressed by Eve, but Adam asked his father to wait 2 months while he made plans outside. During this time, Adam and Eve sold the stocks to build a new house in the countryside, just like his old one. They planned to bring Calvin and Helen up slowly and start a new life together. After a few months, Adam's parents arrived at their new home. They were amazed by how much their son had done for them. While Helen and Eve prepared dinner for the family, Adam told his father that there had never been an atomic war and that the bomb was really a plane that crashed into their house. He also explained that the Soviet Union had collapsed without a war. However, Calvin did not believe him and made fun of Adam's story. The movie ended with Calvin planning to build a new fallout bunker, while Eve watched from the kitchen window, playing with her engagement ring.